I often notice them, you know. If you look around, you'll surely spot a few truly special women. They're not loud, they don't show off, and they don't try to prove themselves better than anyone. Their lives are just as full of pressure, daily chores, family responsibilities, and countless unspoken worries as anyone else's. Yet, strangely, there's always a remarkable calmness about them, a distinct sharpness, an inner strength. They don't shy away from problems, they face them head on. And that very way of confronting life, that quiet inner resilience, is what sets them apart. Perhaps you're like me, you've felt that weariness countless times. You're tired of stale advice, of success formulas that go in one ear and out the other. Then you feel inadequate, blaming yourself for not being good enough or disciplined enough like those people. So, you find yourself stuck in a cycle of confusion and procrastination. Is there truly a more authentic path, one that delves into the essence of the matter, free from superficial appearances? A path leading to genuine wisdom, not just an intelligent facade. To be frank, true wisdom isn't an innate gift bestowed upon someone at birth, nor is it merely a collection of facts memorized from books. It's the result of real stumbles, profound self-reflection, and most importantly, the courage of self-mastery, taking control of yourself. This ability to master oneself is rooted in a fundamental principle, self-discipline. This discipline isn't about rigid enforcement, it's the solid foundation upon which you build trust in yourself, allowing you to know that you can achieve what you set out to do, even on days when you truly don't feel like it. In this video, I won't offer superficial tips. Instead, we will delve deep into 11 fundamental choices, the pivotal mental milestones that discerning women make to cultivate their wisdom, self-mastery, and inner peace. These are analyses of how they truly think and act to achieve depth in life, lessons gleaned from real-world experience, from the very root of the matter. 1. Self-discipline, the foundation of all wisdom. Before we delve into the other specific choices that define a discerning woman, I want you and I to look squarely at a concept often misunderstood: self-discipline. For many, discipline sounds dry, burdensome, like a harsh set of rules or a series of tasks to be performed reluctantly. You might picture it as waking up before dawn, exercising when your body aches, or sitting down to work when your mind desperately craves entertainment. This feeling often makes us shy away, leading to frequent failures in maintaining any good habit. But the discerning woman views self-discipline in an entirely different light. For them, discipline isn't confinement, it's the very bedrock of true freedom. You see, without discipline, you're constantly swayed by fleeting desires, transient emotions, and relentless distractions. You want to be productive, but you're tempted by social media. You want to be healthy, but you succumb to junk food cravings. You want to learn, but laziness holds you back. It's this lack of discipline that becomes the real chain, trapping you in a perpetual cycle of regret and dissatisfaction. Self-discipline, as profoundly understood by Zen master Shi Heng, is the ability to do what you know needs to be done, regardless of your mood or external circumstances. It's an act of rising above momentary emotions. When you practice discipline, you're sending a powerful message to yourself: I am in control. I keep my promises to myself. Every time you perform a disciplined action, no matter how small, for example, turning off your phone to focus for 15 minutes, or getting up to walk when you feel angry, you are building a bank account of trust in yourself. This trust gradually evolves into a formidable inner strength, enabling you to face any challenge without faltering. So, why is self-discipline essential not just for men but for women too? From a psychological and sociological perspective, both men and women face unique pressures, but the core of individual growth and success lies in the same place: the capacity for self-mastery. For men, discipline is often closely linked with qualities like strength, rationality, and the ability to conquer grand goals. Society often expects men to be providers, leaders, and self-discipline helps them fulfill these expectations, from building careers and maintaining physical health to mastering complex skills. Without discipline, they can easily fall into stagnation, irresponsibility, or harmful habits. For women, the role of self-discipline is often more complex and sometimes underestimated, but it is critically important. Women frequently face a double burden, excelling in their careers while also managing family responsibilities, raising children, and nurturing social relationships. This pressure demands extraordinary self-management. Furthermore, women are often socially expected to express emotions more openly, which can sometimes be misinterpreted as lacking rationality or being emotionally driven. This is precisely where self-discipline plays its paramount role. It helps them rise above societal expectations regarding emotions. Discipline doesn't mean suppressing feelings, but rather the ability to acknowledge and process emotions healthily, without letting them dictate behavior. It allows women to demonstrate necessary empathy while maintaining composure and clarity in crucial decisions. Simultaneously, it is key to balancing multiple roles. With discipline, you can allocate your time and energy more effectively for work, family, and self-care, preventing burnout. Most importantly, it builds inner strength and self-confidence. In a world that sometimes places women in vulnerable positions, self-discipline empowers them to forge their own strength and trust in themselves, independent of external validation or judgment. This trust stems from knowing they can keep their promises to themselves, no matter what. Self-discipline isn't about perfection. It's about consistency in action, even when you stumble. It's about knowing you won't always get it right, that there will be days you feel weak. But the crucial part is that you will return, you will continue. This is the backbone of true wisdom, because without it, any knowledge or skill is unlikely to be applied consistently or yield lasting results. Now, we will delve into the other 10 specific choices that discerning women make, all originating from and strengthened by this foundational principle of self-discipline. 2. The willingness to acknowledge limited understanding. Have you noticed that most of us carry a silent burden, the pressure to appear all-knowing? This pressure persists from our school days, where we strive to answer every teacher's question, all the way to the workplace, where admitting ignorance might seem synonymous with weakness or incompetence. This mindset isn't just about the fear of being judged by others, it's a deep-seated fear of confronting our own imperfection. You might worry about being seen as stupid, inadequate, or outdated in a world of information overload and intense competition. Driven by this fear, the ego often inflates, leading you to feign knowledge, evade questions, or even bluff, rather than frankly admit your shortcomings. This ego and fear create an invisible wall, preventing you from embracing new knowledge, stifling your ability to learn and grow. You trap yourself in outdated knowledge, even as the world constantly evolves. But the discerning woman is markedly different. They feel no threat when faced with something they don't fully grasp. They view not knowing as a perfectly normal state, even an exciting starting point for a journey of discovery. For them, every gap in knowledge is a new door opening, an opportunity to broaden their perspective and grow. When a new problem arises, or someone asks about an unfamiliar field, they won't hedge or try to conceal their ignorance. Instead, they candidly and unhesitatingly say, "I'm not clear on that, but I will find out." This isn't weakness or a lack of confidence, it's a conscious choice, an act of courage to set aside the ego and allow themselves to become a student once more. They don't hesitate to ask anyone who can provide information, whether it's a younger colleague, someone in a lower position, or even a child with a naive yet profound insight. They ask questions with genuine sincerity, without judgment, driven by a true desire to fill the gaps in their knowledge, not to prove a point, but to understand. This seemingly simple act liberates your mind from the burden of needing to know everything, dispelling the fear of judgment, and opening channels for optimal information reception. When you're no longer weighed down by the pressure of having to know, your mind becomes more open, like an empty cup ready to receive fresh water. It awakens the innate curiosity we often lose as adults, encouraging critical thinking and the ability to ask profound questions that go beyond the surface. This acceptance of limitations and relentless curiosity form the bedrock of true wisdom, a manifestation of intellectual self-mastery, the ability to control the ego and pursue continuous growth, unconstrained by pride or fear. Acknowledging what you don't know is the first step to truly knowing, and the only path to continuous progress in an ever-changing world. 3. Resolutely safeguarding focus. Have you noticed how incredibly scattered our minds can be these days? You sit down to work, and within minutes, your phone buzzes with texts, emails ping new notifications, and social media feeds relentlessly call for your attention. The pressure to multitask makes us believe we can juggle multiple tasks simultaneously to be highly effective. We pile everything on our plates, from work projects to household chores and social obligations. The result? You work superficially, without depth, quality declines, and by the end of the day, you're utterly exhausted, wondering why. This feeling of being scattered, dragged along by 1,000 minor things, not only wastes time but also drains immense mental energy, leaving you unable to truly control your work or your life. Neuroscience has proven, the human brain isn't designed for effective multitasking. Each task switch costs energy and time to reboot focus, leading to what's known as a switching cost. The discerning woman profoundly understands the paramount value of focus. They don't allow their minds to be pulled in countless directions by external factors. Instead, they view focus as a precious asset to be guarded at all costs, a finite resource to be utilized consciously and with discipline. This isn't a random preference or a fleeting interest, it's a disciplined decision made with clarity. Every morning, before the day's demands inundate them, they don't sit down to create a sprawling to-do list that they'll try to cram. Instead, they make a very deliberate choice. They select just one crucial task to complete that day. Not 5 tasks, not 3. Just one. This is the task that, once finished, will make them feel their day has truly been meaningful, that their efforts have yielded significant results. It might be finishing a critical part of a project, solving a complex problem, or dedicating time to a creative endeavor demanding deep concentration. And once they've chosen that one thing, they commit to protecting the time allocated for it from all distractions. They enact specific, disciplined behaviors, turning off phone notifications, closing irrelevant tabs on their computer, and even using website blockers if necessary. Furthermore, they proactively inform those around them, colleagues, family, that they need a period of uninterrupted quiet to concentrate deeply on their task. This behavior demands iron discipline and the ability to say no to distractions, demonstrating absolute respect for their own time and energy. This decision is a powerful manifestation of self-discipline in controlling their work environment and the flow of information, solidifying their will to master their own minds. This decision helps shift your mind from a scattered state to a state of deep work, a state where the brain can dedicate all its resources to a single task without interruption. When you achieve this state, the quality of your work significantly improves, productivity soars, and breakthrough ideas emerge naturally. Each time they complete that one crucial task, they experience a small victory early in the day, a genuine sense of control and accomplishment. This feeling not only generates powerful momentum for the rest of the day, but also strengthens their self-belief in their ability to master themselves, to control their time and energy. This is the core behavior of mastering attention, helping them control their minds rather than letting their minds be controlled by the noisy external world. It serves as a shield, enabling them to live purposefully, unswayed by life's currents, and truly create lasting value. 4. Proactively addressing negative emotions. Negative emotions can really sweep us away. Suddenly, you might feel boiling anger, restless anxiety, or deep disappointment after an incident or a harsh word. Your mind races with swirling thoughts, unable to break free. We often try to suppress these feelings, force ourselves to think positively in a strained way, or let them erupt into words and actions we later regret. Both approaches lead to immense energy drain and impair clear decision-making. Emotions, unchecked, can imprison you, causing you to lose control of yourself and become a slave to reactive behaviors, unable to think clearly. The discerning woman, however, operates differently. They understand that emotions are not enemies to be crushed, nor are they something to be ignored. They are a flow of energy, a vital signal that your body and mind are sending, indicating something needs attention. When a negative emotion begins to surface, for instance, the jitters before a presentation, or the irritation from an unfair criticism, instead of dwelling on it and allowing it to fester, they immediately change their physical state. This isn't some complex trick, it's a very practical, everyday action that is incredibly effective, grounded in human physiology. They might stand up and walk around the room for a few minutes, take several deep and slow breaths, stretch a bit, or switch to a simple manual task like tidying a corner of their desk. A physical action directly intervenes with the biochemical and neural feedback loops associated with negative emotions in the brain. When you alter your posture, movement, or breathing, you send a new signal to your brain, disrupting the fixed thought patterns and releasing pent-up energy. For example, deep breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, helping to slow heart rate and reduce stress. Even a momentary change in environment can give your mind a reset to view the situation more objectively, free from emotional control. After a few minutes of moving, they can feel calmer, think more clearly, and make rational decisions, unswayed by the emotional storm. Emotions no longer control them, instead, they become a signal for them to act proactively and wisely. This is a practical application of discipline beyond feelings, mastering one's own reactions through conscious action, not through futile internal struggle. 5. Starting imperfectly anyway. Who among us hasn't harbored grand dreams, writing a book, launching a personal project, learning a new language for a career change, or running a marathon? These goals are often magnificent, but that very magnificence can become the biggest obstacle. When the goal seems too vast, you naturally feel discouraged and overwhelmed. Then, the feeling of not being good enough, not having enough time, enough money, or enough motivation lingers. So, you tell yourself, I'll wait until everything is perfect, until I'm truly ready. And you wait, and wait, until the dream remains just a dream, never materializing. Fear of failure, extreme perfectionism, and prolonged procrastination are powerful, invisible barriers that trap us in a false sense of security. The discerning woman is different. They don't wait for that elusive perfect moment. They know it's an insidious trap of procrastination, an excuse not to begin. They understand that true progress doesn't come from one perfect leap, but from the consistent accumulation of small, even clumsy, imperfect actions. Instead, they commit to doing one very small thing related to their goal every single day, even if the initial result is awkward, incomplete, or even ugly. Want to write a book? Today I'll just write 100 words, no matter how clunky the sentences are. Learning English? Today I'll listen to a 5-minute podcast. Starting to exercise? Today I'll walk for just 15 minutes. Sounds trivial, maybe even pointless, doesn't it? Many would dismiss it as a waste of time. But this method leverages the psychological principle of small wins. Each small action completed triggers the brain's reward system, releasing dopamine, creating a sense of accomplishment and momentum to continue. It breaks down the overwhelm of a grand goal, transforming it into feasible steps that build progress and self-belief. More importantly, it cultivates the habit of action, overcoming the initial resistance of procrastination. When you consistently keep promises to yourself, even the smallest ones, you strengthen your self-trust, building an internal bank of success. This is the core behavior of enduring self-discipline, the ability to maintain commitment and action, unswayed by feelings of not being ready or not being perfect. It empowers them to bring grand dreams to fruition bit by bit, without waiting for an ideal condition, but rather by creating that ideal condition through their very actions. 6. Receiving feedback with a learning mindset. Receiving criticism or constructive feedback, regardless of its intention, often triggers a strong defensive reaction. Immediately, an invisible wall goes up in your mind. Your ego feels attacked, your need for acceptance threatened, and the fear of not being good enough surges. This psychological response makes you instantly want to justify, explain yourself, or even blame others. Worse, it can lead to hurt pride and the shutting down of communication. You perceive feedback as a personal attack, as proof of an unacceptable flaw, rather than an opportunity for growth. Consequently, you miss valuable chances to self-reflect, adjust, and improve. The discerning woman, however, operates differently. They view feedback, even when it's difficult to hear, as invaluable information that helps them see their own blind spots. They understand that everyone has blind spots in their self-perception and behavior, and feedback from others serves as a mirror, helping them gain clarity. When faced with feedback, even if emotions are swirling inside, they don't react immediately. Instead, they actively listen, without interrupting or becoming defensive. They allow the information to sink in, without immediate judgment. After listening, they calmly and objectively ask themselves, what can I learn from this? Is there any truth in what they're saying that I can improve upon? Is this an opportunity for me to understand myself or the situation better? This decision demands a high level of self-discipline, detaching personal emotions from the message. By temporarily setting aside their ego, they can transform criticism, even if delivered negatively, into objective data for analysis, much like a scientist analyzes data without personal bias. This activates a growth mindset, the belief that abilities and intelligence are not fixed but can be developed through effort and learning. Instead of letting their ego be wounded, they use it as fuel for improvement and growth. This is a powerful manifestation of intellectual self-mastery, preventing emotions or ego from dominating their ability to absorb knowledge and improve themselves. They turn every piece of feedback into a stepping stone, an opportunity to become wiser and more discerning. 7. Creating space to recharge energy. In the relentless pace of modern life, we often find ourselves caught in a continuous cycle of busyness. Society glorifies being busy, equating it with value and success, making you feel pressured to constantly do something, to be connected, to be active without pause. You often feel guilty when resting, viewing free time as a waste, a sign of laziness. This leads to physical and mental exhaustion, eroding focus, impairing memory, and stifling creativity. This vicious cycle leaves you increasingly tired, chronically stressed, and ineffective, no matter how hard you try. The discerning woman understands that energy, both physical and mental, is finite and needs regular replenishment. They view this as a strategic investment in themselves, not a luxury or a waste. They proactively schedule periods of doing nothing, without specific goals or demands for productivity. This isn't time for problem solving or producing anything. It might involve simply gazing out the window for a few minutes, taking a quiet walk alone in a park without a phone, sipping tea in silence, or just lying down and allowing their mind to wander freely, without focusing on work or responsibilities. This practice is a profound form of mindfulness. It helps reduce cortisol levels, the stress hormone, allowing the brain to enter a state of deep rest, consolidate memories, and naturally generate new ideas. When not bombarded by information, the mind gets an opportunity to reorganize thoughts and solve problems subconsciously without conscious effort. These empty spaces are not dead time, they are recharge time, replenishing the reservoir of creativity and inner peace. They know that recharging is a prerequisite for maintaining mental clarity, focus, and long-term resilience. This enables them not only to work more effectively but also to live a more balanced and fulfilling life, unswayed by life's relentless currents. 8. Making the strategic retreat decision in life. Many people stubbornly cling to projects, goals, or even relationships that they know are no longer effective and are leading to a dead end. The fear of being seen as weak, of quitting, or of wasting past efforts, the sunk cost fallacy, often prevents you from changing course, even when all signs point to the need to stop. The ego won't allow you to admit mistakes or failures, as it equates to accepting you've wasted time and effort. You might find yourself continuously pouring resources into a bottomless pit, pushing yourself to the brink of exhaustion and despair. The discerning woman possesses a unique ability to identify what is unsustainable and ineffective. They do not allow emotions or ego to dictate their choices. When they realize a path is no longer viable, or an effort has become a futile drain without yielding worthwhile results, they know when to stop, change direction, or say no decisively to conserve their energy and resources. This is not quitting or a lack of perseverance, it's a wise strategy for resource management, a calculated decision based on a rational analysis of the real situation. This choice demonstrates profound self-mastery in objectively assessing circumstances, analyzing risks, and weighing actual benefits without emotional bias. They dare to confront the truth, no matter how difficult it might be to accept. The willingness to cut ties with things that no longer serve their goals liberates them from wasting resources, time, money, and mental energy. It allows them to redirect their efforts towards more promising avenues, preventing burnout, and ensuring long-term effectiveness. They understand that, sometimes, knowing when to let go is the fastest path to new success, as it frees up energy to focus on what truly matters. 9. Cultivating relentless curiosity. Everyday life can easily fall into a routine, making thinking rigid when you stop questioning the seemingly obvious. You might readily accept things as they are, without delving deeper or wondering why. This already know mindset is the greatest enemy of wisdom. It slams shut every door to discovery and creativity, hindering continuous personal growth. When you stop being curious, you stop learning, and when you stop learning, you begin to fall behind. The discerning woman has a different perspective. They maintain a mindset of constantly asking why, about everything, from major work challenges to the smallest details of daily life. They don't accept anything at face value, nor do they consider anything to be self-evident. A seemingly simple problem, a natural phenomenon, a casual remark, all can become objects of their curiosity. For instance, instead of just accepting a workflow, they'll ask, why do we do it this way? Is there a more efficient method? Instead of merely hearing a news report, they'll ask, what's the motivation behind this news? Are there other perspectives? This behavior activates brain regions associated with exploration, analysis, and problem solving. It helps them gain a multifaceted perspective, break free from old biases and rigid thinking patterns, and discover new connections between seemingly unrelated pieces of information. Relentless curiosity transforms every situation into a learning opportunity, empowering them to decode life and the world around them more deeply, moving beyond superficial understanding. This is a spirit of continuous learning, a core component of intellectual self-mastery, enabling them to constantly expand their boundaries and keep their minds fresh, never feeling bored or stagnant. 10. Carefully choosing relationships. The social environment profoundly influences one's thoughts, emotions, and energy. Many people are easily affected negatively by toxic or unsupportive relationships. Even if they recognize this, they lack the courage to change. Maintaining unhealthy relationships often stems from a fear of loneliness, a need for acceptance, or simply habit, leading to energy depletion, emotional drag, and hindered personal growth. You often forget that we are the average of the people we spend the most time with. The discerning woman deeply understands the value of energy and authentic support. They view relationships as an investment. They invest in what brings value, and withdraw from what drains them. They are very particular about who they allow close to them. This isn't about being arrogant or selfish, it's about recognizing the value of positivity, wisdom, and genuine support. They proactively seek out individuals who can challenge their thinking constructively, inspire them, and truly listen. By surrounding themselves with positive, growth-oriented people, they create an ecosystem that supports their own development. Conversations become deeper, ideas flourish, and challenges are shared to find solutions. They don't just grow alone, they collaborate with those around them to form a powerful network of mutual support and progress. This is social wisdom and a manifestation of self-mastery in shaping one's environment. 11. Prioritizing mental well-being. In the demanding pace of modern life, we often become overly focused on external achievements, on work, on racing against others. You might neglect your inner emotional and spiritual needs, viewing self-care as weak or a waste of time, only considering it when it's too late, when your body and mind are already exhausted. This leads to a state of emptiness, chronic anxiety, and a loss of the clarity essential for making important decisions. An exhausted spirit cannot nurture a sharp mind. The discerning woman understands that true wisdom isn't just about intellect or external success, it's about the balance and health of the soul. They consider mental well-being an indispensable part of life, a crucial investment, just like eating or sleeping. They intentionally dedicate time to activities that nourish themselves without a specific objective, not to solve problems, not to produce anything. This might involve reading a book purely for enjoyment, listening to instrumental music, sitting quietly to watch a sunrise or sunset, or writing a few random thoughts in a journal without worrying about anyone reading them. These activities may not yield immediate material benefits, but they nurture the soul, helping to reduce stress hormones, cortisol, and boost happiness hormones. When the mind is nourished and revitalized, clarity, creativity, and decision-making abilities are significantly enhanced. They understand that, just as a plant needs water and light to grow, the soul needs care for wisdom to flourish. This is the pinnacle of holistic self-mastery, because without robust mental health, all external wisdom and success are difficult to sustain. Prioritizing inner well-being is a disciplined choice, demonstrating a deep awareness of the importance of maintaining a strong foundation for comprehensive personal development. You see, a discerning woman isn't someone flawless, born different. They are very real people, who stumble and get tired, just like you and I. But what sets them apart are the choices they make, conscious decisions, executed consistently, day after day. These decisions aren't complex, they shape their wisdom from within, transforming them into the best versions of themselves, capable of standing firm amidst life's storms. And all these decisions, ultimately, are underpinned by one singular force, self-discipline, the resolve to keep promises to yourself, even when you don't feel like it. That is the spirit of self-mastery that the most powerful women possess. It's not about rigid enforcement, it's the solid foundation upon which you build trust in yourself, allowing you to know that you can achieve what you set out to do, even on days when you truly lack the desire. So, please, don't try to change the whole world, or force yourself to become someone you're not. Life itself carries enough pressure. Just reflect on these 11 fundamental choices. Pick one that resonates most deeply with you, one that you feel you need most right now. Then commit to practicing it for the next 7 days. Just 7 days. Your future isn't some distant destination. It's being shaped, bit by bit, by the very real, honest choices you make today. Go ahead, begin. If this video resonated with you, if it sparked a new thought or offered a moment of clarity, don't keep it to yourself. Like this post to let us know it brought value to your journey. Share it with another woman who might need to hear these insights today. Drop a comment below and tell us which fundamental choice spoke to you most, or what your own experience with self-mastery has been. Let's build a community of discerning minds. Subscribe to Love and Psyche for more deep dives into the human experience, practical wisdom, and paths to inner strength. Join our growing family committed to living with purpose and power. Your engagement helps us continue to create meaningful content. Thank you for being here.